The waves crashed gently along Seaglass Beach, a tucked-away gem just outside Santa Monica. Most people came here to unwind. But today, it would become a battlefield. Officer Daniel Reyes, 32, had left his badge at home. He wasn't here as a cop. Today, just a brother, trying to give his younger sister Layla a peaceful afternoon away from the chaos of city life. His biggest concern was which taco to grab after the sun dipped. Not racism. Not confrontation. Not going viral. And certainly not her. She arrived like a cloud rolling over sunshine, early 50s. Visor tilted, lapdog trembling in a designer tote. Locals just called her Karen. Daniel had never met her, but her reputation carried on the waves. The confrontation, they had just laid out their towels when she stomped over, gripping a half-full wine tumbler and an invisible sense of authority. "Excuse me," she barked. "This section is for residents only. I don't think you belong here." Daniel calmly turned, a smile still lingering from Layla's joke about seaweed hair masks. "Pardon?" Karen's lips pursed. She gave him a slow glance, eyes scanning everything, his sun-kissed skin, his Padres hat, the Spanish label on the cooler. "You heard me. This is a private family beach. You people have your own spot by the docks, right?" Layla's face twisted. "What do you mean by you people?" Karen didn't blink. "Mexican, right? I've lived in this neighborhood 20 years. You're not from around here." Daniel straightened his back, not angry, not defensive, just steady. "We're not trespassing. This beach is state-owned, public." Karen smirked. "Not for long." All eyes watching a few beachgoers started paying attention. A group of teenagers nearby stopped tossing a frisbee. One subtly turned on their phone camera. Karen either didn't notice or didn't care. "You don't belong here. You're ruining the atmosphere." She stepped forward and tried to yank Daniel's towel from under him. Bad move. Daniel stood. His calm disappeared like the tide retreating. "Ma'am, step back. That's assault." Karen scoffed. "What are you going to do? Report me to the beach patrol? Or are you here illegally too?" Layla moved forward, but Daniel stopped her with a glance. He pulled something from his backpack. A badge. "LAPD. Off-duty." Karen stared at it like it burned her. "That's fake," she muttered, suddenly unsure. "You don't look like a cop." "Because cops don't have a look, ma'am. We just do the job." The shove heard round the beach. Karen's wine spilled as she lunged forward again, this time reaching for his badge. A bold, foolish move. She tripped, missed entirely, and face-planted into the cooler. Guacamole, salsa, and Chardonnay became an abstract painting on her dress. The crowd erupted in disbelief. Someone shouted, "Did she just try to attack a cop?" A woman began filming, from a closer angle now. "I got all of it," she whispered to her friend. "This is going viral." Karen popped up, disheveled, red-faced, and now furious. "He oscillated me," she screamed. "He hit me. I want him arrested." Daniel didn't flinch. "You assaulted me, and it's all on video." He tapped his SMARTWATCH.bodycam app, recording. She paled. Ending twist, identity exposed. 2 uniformed officers arrived. Within minutes, flagged down by bystanders. One looked at Daniel and nodded. "Officer Reyes, you want to file?" Karen blinked. "You're really a cop?" He stared at her, then slowly turned to the officer. "Yes, and I'm pressing charges for racial harassment and attempted assault." As Karen was escorted toward the parking lot, dripping in salsa and denial, Layla turned to Daniel and whispered, "You sure you're okay?" Daniel gave a half smile. "I'm okay. But she's about to learn what accountability feels like." Karen wasn't in handcuffs yet, as she sat in the back of a patrol SUV, dripping Chardonnay and rage. Her story had already started slipping out of her control. She kept repeating the same lines. "He pushed me. He threatened me. He said he was a cop, probably fake." But the officers weren't nodding anymore. They were scrolling, watching, rewinding. 3 angles, all filmed by strangers. All showed her charging Daniel, her grabbing at his towel, cooler, and badge, and her shouting racial slurs in full audio. The internet doesn't miss a beat by the time Daniel and Layla drove away. The incident had already exploded online. #BeachKaren was trending on X.Reddit threads with titles like, "Karen tries to fight off-duty cop because he's Latino blue," up within the hour. But the clip that truly detonated the firestorm, it came from a teenage girl named Tori, who uploaded the confrontation to TikTok, complete with captions. "This guy was just chilling with his sister. Karen came out of nowhere. yelling racial slurs. Then she tried to steal his badge. Plot twist, he is a cop. Over 3.2 million views in 6 hours. Karen didn't know it yet, but her name, address, and HOA membership had already been doxed. Karen's spin attempt the next morning. Karen appeared on a local morning radio show via call-in, attempting damage control. I was being harassed. He made me feel unsafe. I didn't know he was a police officer. I'm the one who was scared. The hosts tried to remain neutral, but a producer passed them a phone. One of the hosts leaned into the mic. Karen, are you aware there's video showing you shouting "go back where you came from" and lunging at him? Click. She hung up. Within minutes, a new video surfaced, this one from just weeks prior, showing Karen yelling at a black couple for playing music too loudly in a beach parking lot. Why is she always at the center of drama? One comment, read, I live in her neighborhood. She's banned from the HOA Facebook group for threatening someone's gardener, wrote another. Meanwhile, at the precinct, Daniel Reyes sat across from his captain, Commander Lee, who had reviewed everything. You handled yourself like a pro, Lee said, setting down his coffee. The body cam app was a smart move. Daniel nodded but stayed silent. There's pressure coming down the pipeline. Karen's husband is a contractor tied to a few city vendors. Someone up the food chain wants this quiet. Daniel's eyes narrowed. So I'm supposed to let it go? No, just be careful. Daniel left the office knowing two things. This wasn't over. Someone powerful was trying to bury this. Ending twist, Karen makes her move that night. Daniel and Layla were watching Netflix when his phone buzzed. Unknown email. If you don't want to lose your job, you'll stop talking. Attached was a photoshopped image of Daniel, made to look like he was holding a beer and flashing gang signs. Then came the second message, you like your sister safe. Then drop the charges. Daniel stared at the screen. His hands tightened. Karen wasn't just panicking, she was retaliating. And someone was helping her do it. Daniel Reyes had faced gangsters, armed robbers, and political scandals during his years on the force, but never a middle-aged HOA queen with a deep-pocketed network and a fear of being exposed. The photoshopped images of him flashed across anonymous accounts within hours. Some accused him of being a fake cop. Others called him a cartel plant. Even Layla's small art business account was hit with fake reviews calling her dangerous and anti-American. This isn't just Karen, Layla said, pacing. Someone's helping her. Someone big. Daniel nodded. He'd already made a list. Karen's husband, Gregory Palmer, a wealthy construction contractor with longtime city ties, wasn't just a name, he was a donor. A man who shook hands at golf fundraisers and cut deals behind tinted office windows. We find the link, Daniel said, and we break the chain. The clue hidden in plain sight. Daniel reached out to an old friend, Maya Lynn, an investigative journalist he'd once protected during a gang bust case. She owed him. She didn't hesitate. I've already started digging. She said on the phone. Karen's not just HOA. She's vice chair of the Sea Glass Preservation Council. And her husband's company just landed a multi-million-dollar state beachfront redevelopment contract. Daniel froze. Sea Glass Beach. Yup, where she tried to chase you off. It wasn't racism for the sake of racism anymore. It was about control and land. If people like Daniel and Layla, clearly not the wealthy elite, could claim space there. Karen's exclusive beach image cracked, and with it, her husband's selling point. A digital trail of panic. Maya sent Daniel a file that nearly made his blood run cold. Internal emails from Karen, leaked by a whistleblower on the Preservation Council's mailing list. One stood out. If he presses charges and the video circulates further, our project faces public backlash. Shut him down. Dig if you have to. Karen had sent it just hours after the beach incident. Layla read it and whispered, she's weaponizing the system. Daniel exhaled. No, she is the system. Or at least, she thinks she is. The weak link. Maya identified someone else worth contacting, Aiden Rowe, a junior accountant at Palmer Construction, Karen's husband's firm. He had posted anonymously on Reddit about shady invoices tied to beach renovations. Daniel found his LinkedIn. Sent a message. Surprisingly, Aiden responded. They met in a quiet diner. Aiden, barely 25, looked spooked. I didn't think anyone noticed that post, he said, fiddling with a napkin. You're not in trouble, Daniel assured him. But if you know something, I need it now. Aiden nodded slowly. They rerouted over $200,000 to something called a community marketing initiative. But the money vanished. There are no services tied to it. Daniel leaned in. And you think that cash was used to, what, hire trolls? Fabricate smear content, Aiden whispered, or bribe officials. Or both. Ending twist, a visit in the dark that night. As Daniel parked his car back at his apartment, his headlights caught something strange. A white SUV, running. Empty, parked directly across from his space. He stepped out, instantly alert. Then a paper fluttered down from his windshield. A typed message, dig deeper and your badge won't save you. Daniel looked around. Nothing but streetlights and silence. But now he knew one thing. This wasn't just Karen's war anymore. It was a coordinated effort. And someone with power was hiding behind her perfectly trimmed beach hedge. Daniel Reyes didn't sleep that night. The typed threat left on his windshield rattled in his mind. The beach confrontation had started as racial harassment, but now he was facing a well-oiled machine fueled by power, money, and fear. Karen was just the face, the poison ivy, but someone else was the root. The breadcrumb Aiden left behind early the next morning. Aiden sent Daniel a link to a cloud drive. I'm not safe holding this anymore. His text read. Inside the folder. Dozens of internal Palmer construction files redacted invoices committee. Zoom recordings. One folder was titled, Preservation Council, Private Recordings. There were over 20 video files. But one, labeled Executive Brief March 3rd, was different. Password protected. Layla stared at the screen. Try the name of her dog. She joked. Daniel typed, Baxter 123. Access granted. Voices in the shadows. The video began with a grainy Zoom screen and a roll call of familiar names, HOA leaders, contractors, and at the bottom, Councilwoman Dana Hayworth. Daniel blinked. The Dana Hayworth. The one running for state senate. Layla's voice dropped. She was at that beach fundraiser last month. Karen bragged about taking a selfie with her. The screen crackled, and Dana's voice came through clear as day. We cannot afford any optics that suggest Seaglass Beach is unsafe or racially tense. I don't care if someone has a badge if he's not part of the donor network. We can't let him derail the project. Karen's voice followed. I'll handle it. If this goes public, it could tank Gregory's bid and your campaign. Daniel paused the video. They weren't just trying to silence him. They were colluding, weaponizing HOA authority, silencing witnesses, laundering money, and using race as a tool to keep outsiders out. The secret candlelit meeting. Daniel arranged a quiet meetup with Maya and Aiden in the back room of a candlelit jazz bar in downtown LA, place with no cameras, no suspicious eyes. If that recording gets out, Maya whispered, it'll ruin Hayworth's campaign and implicate Karen in conspiracy. That's why I'm not releasing it yet, Daniel replied. Not until I know Layla's safe and we force them into the open. Maya agreed. So what's the plan? Daniel pulled out a printed flyer. Seaglass Beach Preservation Gala. This Saturday night. A black tie event. Guest list full of donors, officials, and every single name from the Zoom call. We go public. But not online. Not until we make them feel invincible. Then we hit them where it hurts. Ending twist. An unexpected betrayals. They left the bar. Daniel's phone buzzed. Aiden had sent another text. I'm out. Someone's been following me. I just got suspended from work. I never told them I talked to you. But they know. I'm sorry. Then another message, a forwarded screenshot from a burner email. If you keep leaking files, your student loans won't be the only debt you carry. Maya cursed under her breath. Layla whispered, they're choking every whistleblower one by one. Daniel clenched his jaw. Then we turned the heat up. But as they got to the parking garage, Daniel stopped. His car was gone. Not towed. Not misplaced. Stolen. And in its place, scrawled across the concrete wall in red spray paint, you should have stayed off the beach. Daniel stood in the garage, staring at the red spray-painted threat where his car should have been. He wasn't surprised anymore. Infuriated. Yes, scared. No, he had seen this kind of intimidation on the streets from gangs but never from suburban elites in designer suits. They're panicking, Layla said beside him, quietly. You're close. He didn't reply. His mind was already racing. They wanted him to stay quiet. They wanted him out of the picture. Before Saturday night. Which meant crashing their precious Seaglass Preservation Gala wasn't just symbolic, now it was war. The drop-off 2 hours later. Daniel's stolen car was found abandoned in a construction lot just outside the city, stripped, soaked, and scorched. The only thing inside. A sealed manila envelope. He opened it and found a burned replica of his police badge. along with a note. Still, think you're untouchable? Daniel handed the items to Maya for safekeeping. She snapped photos and added them to the evidence vault she was compiling. They're escalating, she muttered. They're sloppy, too. Look at this. She pointed to a faint watermark on the paper. Palmer Development Group, confidential. They'd used company stationery for a threat. That was the crack they needed. The setup with Maya's help, Daniel formulated a plan. Aiden, still scared, agreed to leave a flash drive anonymously at the gala containing all the internal emails, invoices, and the damning Zoom call. Maya would livestream the gala's open speeches via a press badge. In Daniel. He would walk in through the front door with his badge in his pocket and a body cam rolling. Gala night. Seaglass Beach Resort was buzzing with luxury string quartets, champagne towers, and white linens stretched under golden lights. Karen glided through the room in an overpriced gown, laughing too loudly, sipping too hard, acting like a woman who still believed she was invincible. Councilwoman Dana Hayworth stood at the podium, voice polished. We're preserving the beauty and exclusivity of our coastline for generations. Daniel stepped into the ballroom at that exact moment, dressed in a black suit, Layla at his side. Heads turned, gasps echoed. Karen nearly dropped her glass. You shouldn't be here, she hissed, striding toward him. Public event, Karen. I'm allowed to admire the exclusivity. The drop at 8:14 p.m. Right as Dana Hayworth finished thanking Gregory Palmer and Karen for their tireless civic service, the ballroom screens flickered. A new feed, the Zoom call, their voices, their faces, their words, playing loud, unedited, double quotes. If he presses charges and the video circulates further, our project faces backlash. I don't care if he has a badge. We can't let him derail this. Gasps turned into murmurs. Cell phones whipped out. Karen's face drained white. Gregory stood up, but it was too late. Maya stepped forward from the side of the ballroom, flashing her press badge and holding a microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the truth. Ending twist. The emergency exit security was suddenly in motion, not to remove Daniel, but to protect the guests. The event was spiraling. As Daniel turned to scan the chaos, he spotted something. Dana Hayworth, slipping toward the back hallway, with her aide. Fast, too fast. Daniel didn't hesitate. He moved, pushing through the crowd, heart pounding. But as he rounded the corridor, she was gone. Only the scent of her expensive perfume lingered in the air and on the floor, trampled under hurried heels. A business card. Everton and Blake. Crisis management, political damage control. They were ready for this, and they had a backup plan. By morning, the video was gone. Maya's stream had been ripped offline. The original upload flagged for violations. The social posts shadow banned. Even Daniel's personal email had been locked due to suspicious activity. Layla stared at her phone in disbelief. They erased everything. Daniel just nodded grimly. No, they buried it. And they had help. Councilwoman Hayworth hadn't just disappeared into the shadows, she'd activated every contact she had: PR firms, tech intermediaries, lawyers. The narrative had flipped in less than 12 hours. A statement now circulated online, attributed to Dana's office. A disgruntled former officer attempted to disrupt a charity event with illegally obtained, doctored video. Law enforcement has been notified. It was clean. Legalese, almost believable if you didn't know the truth. Daniel turned back to Maya's investigation notes. One name kept coming up, but always at the edge of things. Victor Levin. He wasn't in the videos. He didn't attend the gala. He wasn't in the HOA, yet he showed up on donation lists for Dana's campaign. Palmer Construction payroll records, and even the private HOAS digital surveillance bills. Who is this guy? Daniel muttered. Maya blinked. Wait, I know that name. He's a cybersecurity contractor. Works for politicians. Covers tracks. Deletes problems. Daniel leaned forward. He didn't just bury the story. He's the one building the shovel. The unexpected message that night, as Layla closed the art studio early. Daniel received an anonymous message from a secure email account. Subject, I didn't sign up for this. Attached was a short video, grainy, recorded secretly from behind a desk. It showed Victor Levin on the phone, pacing an office, his voice low but clear. I've deleted the streams, rewrote the metadata. If that cop resurfaces again, we'll use the Mexico file, push the immigration doubt, get Karen to leak it. Then a second voice dash off screen. Karen. Perfect. If they don't believe he's even legal, who cares if he had a badge? Daniel's fists curled. This wasn't just character assassination anymore. It was identity warfare. And someone inside their operation had sent him that file. Entered the Mulhey traced the IP trail carefully. Maya cross-referenced digital logins with Victor's known team. One name stood out. Jillian Cruz, a data analyst for Victor's firm. A second-generation Mexican-American. Underpaid, overlooked, and, judging from leaked documents, recently reprimanded for refusing to alter a batch of HOA financial logs. Daniel sent her a private message. I don't want to expose you. I want to end them. Meet me, and I'll protect you. The hidden server Jillian met them 2 hours later at an underground cafe beneath a library. She looked tired, nervous, but determined. I've seen what they do to people like us, she said. I stayed quiet because I thought I'd get fired. But then I heard Herkeren laughing about how your wife probably wasn't a real citizen. Either Layla went still. You're the one who leaked the Victor video, Maya asked. Jillian nodded. That's nothing. I know where the original server backups are. Victor kept a hidden cloud mirror for his real clients, ones who pay him to bury dirt, not just scrub posts. Daniel leaned in. You can get us in. She nodded once, but once I do, we're either going to jail or taking down a senator. Ending twist. A clock starts ticking just as they made their plan. Gillian's phone, VIBR, ATED. She glanced at it, tanned, paled. They know. She turned the screen around, an email from Victor Levin. Subject line, Jillian, we need to talk. Now. Attached. A photo, her sitting across from Daniel and Maya. Taken minutes ago. Layla whispered. Someone's watching us. Daniel scanned the cafe and saw the man with the laptop at the corner table slowly stand and walk out. They were already compromised, and the clock had just started. The pressure in the room was suffocating. Jillian's phone vibrated again. This time, no message, just a link, a tracking ping. Someone was following her location in real time. Layla yanked the battery from the phone. We're done here. We move. Now Daniel didn't wait. He grabbed the laptops and hard drives, and the group bolted out the back door of the cafe. Jillian led them to a rented SUV stashed behind the library lot, her last safety net. We have one shot at this, she said, voice shaking. Victor's secure server is housed off-grid, no cloud access. We'll have to go to the data farm he manages in the valley. You're saying we break into a private surveillance compound? Daniel raised an eyebrow. No, Jillian corrected. I'm saying we expose a federal-level digital cover-up, but we'll need to get dirty. The digital vault by nightfall. The group was inside a heavily secured storage facility, miles outside Seaglass. Hidden beneath an eco-branded research shell company. Jillian bypassed the main gate remotely. Daniel and Maya moved quickly, dressed like technicians. Layla watched the security feed from the van, feeding directions via earpiece. They reached a server room in the back. 2 rows of locked drives. One in particular stood out, an access keypad with a thumb scanner. That's it, Jillian said. Everything dirty Victor hides ends up in their voice logs, phone taps, financial erasures, political blackmail files. Even video manipulation, software. Daniel turned to her. Can we extract it? If we do, the entire system logs the breach. There's no stealth here. Once we copy it, they'll know. The trigger the moment Jillian bypassed the biometric lock using Victor's stolen thumbprint from a coffee cup. Yes, she'd planned ahead. Alarms silently activated. A red light blinked on a far wall. Data began transferring to Maya's encrypted, external drive. Seconds later, Layla's voice crackled in their earpieces. Black SUV just pulled up. 2 men in suits. No logos. Not local cops. Keep them busy, Daniel said. We're almost. Suddenly, Jillian gasped. Victor's here. The chase. Victor Levin wasn't armed. He didn't need to be. His voice alone carried menace. You just threw away your life, Jillian. You too, Officer Reyes. You think this is a victory? Dana's campaign has already pivoted. Karen's going under the bus. You're not taking us all. Actually, Daniel said, holding up the drive. I already did. Victor lunged, but Daniel was faster. He threw a flash drive decoy one direction and bolted the other way. Maya smashed the emergency fire exit. Alarms screamed. The team sprinted to the van, Layla already gunning the engine. Behind them, Victor shouted into a phone. Initiate the lockdown protocol. I want every damn asset we have. A new player joins. They didn't make it far before unmarked cars intercepted them at a checkpoint leading into the city. Daniel tensed, ready to run, but instead of local PD, a tall woman in a black blazer stepped forward. Daniel Reyes. Yeah, she flipped a badge. Special Agent Harper, FBI. We've been following Victor Levin's activities for months. You just triggered the dead man's alarm on his off-grid site. We want to talk. Everyone froze. Are we under arrest? Maya asked cautiously. Agent Harper smiled. Not if you're willing to trade what's in that drive for protection. And testify. Ending twist. The deal, or the trap. Later that night, as Daniel sat in a sterile interview room at an FBI field office, Agent Harper placed a document on the table. We can put you and your wife under witness protection, but once this goes to court, it's open season. They'll know where you are. They'll fight dirty if I don't testify. Victor walks. Dana wins the seat. Karen scapegoated, and the entire system resets. Daniel looked down at the contract, then at Layla sitting across from him. This started as racism on a beach. Now it's a war for the soul of this town. He took the pen. But just before he signed, the room lights flickered. The feed from Gillian's server had just gone live. 2. The entire country, the moment the feed went live, everything changed. TVs, phones, and news stations buzzed in real-time. Every file Gillian pulled from Victor Levin's server, every recorded call, wire transfer, bribery contract, and AI smear video exploded across the internet. It was no longer a matter of he said, she said. It was a reckoning. This is a developing story. News anchors interrupted scheduled programming. A massive leak of digital evidence implicates political fixer Victor Levin, HOA board members, and even local senator candidate Dana Hayworth, in an elaborate scheme to falsify evidence, silence witnesses, and manipulate racial narratives for profit. Karen's name trended within minutes, not as a villain, but as a useful fool. One clip played over and over. If they don't believe he's even legal, who cares if he had a badge? Then another, older one. You're Mexican. Leave this. Beach isn't yours. Public outrage boiled. But this time, it wasn't Daniel fighting alone. The dominoes fall by sunrise. Karen was in handcuffs. Not for hate speech, but for fraud, trespassing, and conspiracy to suppress evidence. The HOA board distanced themselves instantly. But it was too late. Cameras captured her breakdown outside her home. They used me. I didn't know it would go this far. I just wanted our neighborhood to stay clean. Clean. That one word became the tagline of the media storm, showing exactly how deep the rot went. Next came Gregory Palmer, arrested at his estate, barefoot and furious. And finally, Dana Hayworth, caught trying to board a private jet in Reno with forged diplomatic letters and a burner phone. Daniel's decision inside the FBI briefing room. Agent Harper turned off the live newsfeed and turned to Daniel. Congratulations, your testimony's not even needed anymore. The court of public opinion has already buried them. Daniel looked exhausted, but resolved. And Gillian, she's safe. Protective custody. She testify in D.C. when the federal hearings begin. Layla squeezed his hand. We did it. We really, but Daniel held up one hand. Not yet. The press conference a week later. Daniel stood in front of a podium at the Seaglass Community Center, the same building where HOA meetings were once closed door and filled with whisper networks. This time, the crowd wasn't HOA elites. It was families, workers, immigrants, and locals who'd stayed silent too long. I came to this town to rest, Daniel said, voice steady. Instead, I watched a system weaponize racism, power, and fear against people like me. But we fought back, and now, change is coming. He paused. They told me to go back where I came from, so I stayed, and made it better. Cheers erupted. Final twist. The real architect, that night. Daniel and Layla returned home. Peaceful, quiet, for once, until a letter was slipped under their door, handwritten, untraceable. Inside was a single line, you only cut off a hand, the head still breathes. Attached. A photo of Agent Harper. Shaking hands with Victor Levin at a fundraiser 5 years ago. Daniel stared at it. Silent, Layla whispered, we still don't know who really funded all of this, do we? He shook his head. Not yet, but we will.